This is Mac OS Ken.
Apple's recent slump. Friday's a big deadline for Apple, and lawsuits aplenty. It's Monday, the 21st of September, 2020. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Sunbasket. Get $35 off your order using promo code MacOSKen at sunbasket.com/MacOSKen. This show is also sponsored by BetterHelp, online counseling that's there for you. This is real help, not a crisis line, not self-help. Not that there's anything wrong with those, but this isn't that. This is working with a licensed professional counselor on whatever is holding you back or keeping you down. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist with whom you can start working right away. And if it turns out they're not the proper match, changing is easy and free. BetterHelp costs less than traditional offline counseling, but if you need it, financial aid may be available. So many people have been using the online service that is BetterHelp that they're recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. If you need help, give BetterHelp a try. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/MacOSKen. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that is BetterHelp, HELP, betterhelp.com/MacOSKen. One more time, it's betterhelp.com/MacOSKen. And a big thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's show. The next time CNBC decides to beat up on Tony Sacconaghi, he can sit up straight, puff out his chest, and say, "You weren't beating up on me on Friday, the 18th of September, 2020. Here's something I didn't realize. Apple has spent the first 3 weeks of September shedding $500 billion in market value. Actually, $532 billion, according to the CNBC report. Apple did, of course, introduce a few new products last week, including a couple of new Apple Watches, a couple of new iPads, a new fitness on-demand service, and some service bundles. Still, the whole event was relatively underwhelming, according to, well, hey, what do you know? CNBC turned to Bernstein research analyst Tony Sacconaghi. Yes, in case you're wondering, that is the same Tony Sacconaghi that CNBC's had on a couple of times over the past year to criticize to his face for wildly missing Apple's huge rise ahead of COVID-19 and huge rise again during the pandemic. I could tell you what he told CNBC, but why? He was wrong about Apple for 3/4 of the year. When CNBC has a gloomy story to tell, they call the guy that they know will support their thesis. Putting him on TV gives him credibility, never mind how wrong he was all year long. He wants to see Apple do a subscription bundle that integrates hardware and services. That's apparently why he thinks Apple has lost as much as it has. Never mind the ongoing pandemic, the seemingly overheated tech market, the contentious election, the WeChat ban that may still turn into a thing that hurts iPhone sales in China. What Apple should absolutely do is take the advice of a guy who is only right about the company now because he stood in one spot waiting for it to swing back his way. Why am I talking about it? Because I got the $500 billion headline, then read the rest of the story and got Marvin the Martian on the whole thing. Out of habit, I will tell you that Sacconaghi has a hold rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $100. Apple opens today at $106.84. Quick aside, I do hope you'll pardon my attitude on the Sacconaghi story. I think there are lots of cases to be made for how Apple could do better. There are also real concerns about the course ahead for the company. Katie Huberty runs a bull case, a bear case, and her sort of middle-of-the-road idea about how Apple will do. Daniel Ives runs a regular report and a bull case as well. Maybe Sacconaghi does too. but CNBC having him on when he just happens to be right after bringing him on repeatedly to call him out for being wrong. One does not praise the broken clock every 12 hours. On the same day Sacconaghi was telling CNBC there wasn't much to Apple's Time Flies event, Evercore analyst Emmy was upping his price target on Apple shares. That rise was based largely on Apple One, the bundle of service bundles Apple announced last week. Apple 3.0 ran part of AdRock's note to clients. According to surveys run by Evercore since last Tuesday's event, about 70% of iPhone users subscribe to streaming services. That's 28% Spotify, 20% Apple Music, and 15% Amazon Prime. 56% of that roughly 70% is into the Apple One idea, including about 72% of Apple Music subscribers, about 56% of Spotify users, and about 47% of Prime Music users. In terms of interest in Apple bundles, Darianani says the interest was 31% to Apple One, 18% to Apple One Family, and 10% Apple Premium. Quoting his conclusion, "We think Apple One bundle is a compelling value proposition and should bolster services acceleration by a few hundred basis points as it uplifts average revenue per user. Furthermore, we think it will help enable Apple to win music wars and draw incremental interest to offerings like Fitness Plus, Arcade, and News." Darianani has an outperform rating on Apple shares. He used last week's note to up his price target on the shares from $130 to $135. An interesting deadline coming up for Apple this week. Well, an interesting deadline that involves Apple. Patently Apple says the European Commission has until this Friday, the 25th of September, to appeal the €13.1 billion case it lost against Apple and Ireland. According to the piece, the EU's General Court decided earlier this summer that the European Commission did not prove that the Irish government had given the US tech giant a tax advantage. The EC said then that it would carefully study the judgment and reflect on possible next steps. Patently Apple says an appeal is looking unlikely, given how emphatically the court shot down the EC's arguments. Epic's hit back at Apple with a big "nuh-uh." I told you last week of Apple's assertion that fortunes for Epic's Fortnite were waning before the App Store dust-up. According to a recent court filing by Apple, by July 2020, interest in Fortnite had decreased by nearly 70% as compared to October 2019. This lawsuit, and the front page headlines it has generated, appears to be part of a marketing campaign designed to reinvigorate interest in Fortnite. Cue the "nuh-uh." The piece from Engadget has Epic indicating that Apple was using Google search data for that 70% number. The same piece has the game maker asserting that the number of daily active Fortnite players actually grew 39% over the same time frame. The game company had other arguments as well. According to Engadget, it denied Apple's claims that removing Epic's apps helped security and privacy, arguing that Apple hadn't referenced a single security issue with Fortnite's direct payment and in-game update systems. The app had used the in-game updates for years without objection, Epic said. It also argued against Apple's stance on in-app purchases for games, surprising no one. And it refused Apple's assertion that Epic created the current situation, maintaining that it was simply exercising its Supreme Court-backed power to reject anti-competitive contractual conditions. The two sides next meet in court a week from today, Monday, the 28th of September. News of a couple of other lawsuits against Apple. It is a day that ends in Y. Apple Insider says the Cupertino company is being sued for the way it makes maps. The suit, filed last week, says Apple Maps violates two navigation-related patents held by the non-practicing entity, Omnitech. Non-practicing entity is often used in lieu of the less civil-sounding term, patent troll. You know how you can zoom, pinch, then tap on Apple Maps to choose your start and end points? That's the IP Apple is accused of violating. The report says both of the patents in question are focused on software-based driving directions and detail methods of providing driving directions without text entry. Plaintiffs are looking for a jury trial, damages, and attorney's fees, according to the report. Apple is being sued over its ethnically diverse emojis. It's not because they have them, you'll be glad to know. Rather, another report from Apple Insider has the plaintiff Cub Club Investment, or CCI, saying Apple stole the idea from them. Yes, they argue that drawing people with more than one skin tone was an idea that Apple stole. The problem is, if what CCI says is true, it actually kind of sounds like that. Apple Insider says the complaint has CCI saying it developed the world's first diverse emoji brand in 2013. It's got more than 20 copyrights covering the idea. It's got 3 pending patent applications. And here's the potentially sticky bit. It's had meetings with Apple over the idea. Well, first with the Unicode Consortium, of which Apple is a member. Apple was said to be in attendance at those meetings. Then it had the meetings with Apple. According to the report, CCI said it met several times with Apple representatives to discuss a partnership between the two companies. Discussions fell through when Apple allegedly decided against a partnership and proceeded to develop its own diverse emoji designs. The time gets squishy on all of this. CCI reportedly met with the Unicode Consortium in 2013, again with Apple said to be in the room. Word got out in early 2014 that Apple was planning ethnically diverse emojis. A couple of days later, CCI tried to strike a deal. That fell through, and Apple launched its emojis of many colors in 2015 with the release of iOS 8.3. It's kind of hard to see this case standing. I mean, the idea of drawing people in more than one color, it really does seem like a natural progression. Then again, the case was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Texas, a court known to be friendly for plaintiffs in cases like this. Accusing Apple of violating its copyrights, CCI is seeking a permanent injunction preventing the company from continuing to do so on account of profits and advantages from the copyright infringement and damages suffered as a result of the infringement. More news in a moment, but first a word from Sunbasket, delivering oven-ready meals that are fast, fresh, and delicious. I like trying new recipes if I already have the ingredients. Sometimes I will go ahead and go out and buy a bunch of ingredients for a recipe, and I have those ingredients forever. Good news. Trying something new is easy with Sunbasket and their fresh and ready meals. Meals like pappardelle pasta with wilted spinach, sweet peas, and fresh ricotta, southwestern turkey and sweet potato skillet, cauliflower macaroni and cheese, and more. And they come ready for the oven or microwave. You could be trying something new from award-winning chefs in under 10 minutes. Everything I've had from Sunbasket has been delicious. See what looks good to you. Right now, Sunbasket is offering $35 off your order when you go right now to sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen at checkout. That's sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen at checkout for $35 off your order. sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen. And a big thanks to Sunbasket for sponsoring today's show. Of course, you've heard by now of the passing of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. News of her passing hit the West Coast on Friday afternoon. Early Friday evening, Mac Daily News had Apple CEO Tim Cook taking to Twitter to honor Ginsburg. saying Ruth Bader Ginsburg spent her life in pursuit of an equal world. She fought for the unheard, and through her decisions, she changed the course of American history. We can never repay what she has given us, but we all can honor her legacy by working toward true equality together. Ginsburg died at her home in Washington, D.C. on Friday. She was 87 years old. The world is hardly getting back to normal, but little semblances of it do show up now and again. Deadline says production on the second season of the Apple TV Plus series C is set to resume next month. Oh, Tinseltown has nothing to do with it. The show shoots in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, actually. Deadline says this is the third of Apple's shows to get back underway. Invasion and For All Mankind are the other two that have returned to filming since COVID-19 shut down production. And finally today, Apple TV Plus has won its first Primetime Emmy Award. Mac Rumor says Billy Crudup, who plays the seemingly maniacal network exec Corey Ellison on The Morning Show, received an Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series on Sunday. Crudup has done well with that character for the show. Early this year, he won a 2020 Critics' Choice Award for the same role. Coming up in a few minutes, as WeChat and TikTok narrowly miss getting kicked out of the U.S. app stores, Parallel host Shelley Brisbane and I talk over some of the points of that story. It's news to Shelley in a few minutes. Listen where you get podcasts or on YouTube, youtube.com/Ken Ray. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by BetterHelp, online counseling that's there for you. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Sunbasket. Get $35 off your order using promo code macOSKen at sunbasket.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. We will talk again tomorrow. Until then, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.